All right. Folks should be finishing getting into the room now, so we'll go ahead and start slow with introductions, and then get into the meat of the programs, and then do a Q&A at the end. And of course, that's really tends to be what everyone is looking for, is to chat and get some questions answered. So, um, my name is Matt Alexander. I'm the acting director and associate dean for computer science. So, welcome to our breakout session. With me today, quite a few people joined: Ramiro, Joyce, Linda, and Dave, who represent our faculty in different aspects of our faculty, from mentoring, course instruction, and evaluation. Um, they're all here to say hi and to experience the sessions and some prospective students, but also to help answer questions in the chat. Feel free to put some questions in the chat or use the Q&A feature, and we'll make sure that we hit those again at the end of the session. So let's go ahead and get started and see if I can get the slides to advance. Gonna have to click, can't hit the arrow. Okay. So this is the session for both the bachelor's and master's of science and computer science. And we will go over the bachelor's first, and then go over some of the common elements in the bridge, and then the master's. And then towards the end, we'll talk about the prerequisites to enter our program and details there. Um, we really want to talk about what computer science is overall and what it can do for you, and the types of careers that it opens up for you, how the programs are structured, and what makes them different from, say, software engineering or data analytics, if there are other programs that you might be interested in, and then understand what are the details around our admissions timelines and next steps to get started in our programs. All right. So, computer science, by and large, is the study of computing, right? How we use computers and computation to solve problems. Computer scientists, which once you go through one of our programs, you are a computer scientist, design and analyze algorithms, software, and systems. Really, we're interested in what problems can computers solve and how efficiently can they solve them, right? So computer scientists are always going to be the ones thinking about how to build the better mousetrap, right? And what you can automate away. If you've ever sat down and been like, "Man, this task is really feels like something that could be automated," that's exactly how computer scientists tend to think and approach problems, right? So, who thrives or who does well in computer science? Um, those who like to take things apart, figure out how they work, from within computers, right? If you've ever looked at your Twitter feed, or you've scrolled around online and thought, "I wonder how this is, like, why this is giving me stuff. How does this algorithm work?" Right? That's a good indicator that you'll do well in computer science. Enjoy logic, puzzles, or math. None of these things are exclusive. You might not like math, but you might like some puzzles or some logic. There are always things in any program or in any profession. There are aspects that you really enjoy, and there are aspects that you have to use more energy in, right? So you don't have to hit every one of these indicators, right? If you like writing or tinkering with code already, if you already have some experience there, you might have a strong indicator that you want to be a programmer, right? But that's a lot of different jobs now. It's not just computer scientists. There's software engineers. There's product type people, right? So we'll talk about that more. Very much the scientific method type of try, test, and iterate and fix approach to solving problems is common in computer science. So that's a wonderful mentality to have. Um, there's this thought that computer scientists or programmers in general toil away all by themselves all day. That's just not the modern experience, right? You'll work independently, but then you also have to be able to collaborate and communicate well. um, and really, it's all about building technology that positively impacts people and society at large. right? Um, One of the biggest predictors of success in any program, but in computer science in particular, is a curiosity and a persistence and a drive to solve problems, right? So if you are someone who likes to work on problems and is okay with, again, toiling away a little bit by yourself and then being able to talk about it and collaborate, then this is a great field for you. How do computer scientists think? Well, again, if you run across problems in your day-to-day life, if you see a problem and you think, I wonder if I could like do an Excel spreadsheet that solves that for me, or write a little script that solves that for me, right? These are the types the thoughts that computer scientists will have, right? Um, you want to decide whether software or automation or some data solution will help, and you're able to take big problems. And again, this doesn't have to describe you today. This is at the end of the program as well, right? You're able to take big problems and break them into smaller solvable steps and use algorithms or algorithmic thinking to solve. Um, Modernly, it's also a very important skill for computer scientists to think about what is the cost versus the performance versus reliability versus security. You're going to encounter problems that don't have a clean solution, right? And you're trying to evaluate what is the best heuristical way to decide what is the most important thing here, right? And then design solutions to problems that are reliable, can be maintained and improved over time. Um, this starts to intersect with the engineering aspects of software engineering very much, right?
Matt,
Yes,
would
yes,
you
Linda,
pause just for 1 minute? I see about 8
happily.
individuals having issues getting the presentation to load, and they're just refreshing the browser so they can get caught up. Just give like a 1 minute
Okay, yeah, I
breath
see
so
Christopher
everybody
and
can
some
reload.
replies there. Wonderful,
Mhm.
thank you, Linda.
Yeah, it's just running a little behind. I think most are getting there though.
Okay. Can somebody, when they who's had that problem, please report back to us when you're able to see the presentation again? We're on some slides with circular pictures. I see Anthony had already entered in there that it worked after hitting refresh. So if anybody else, let's see, there's no more replies than that. I got to go back into that.
We might be caught up now.
Okay, yeah, I see that was Dave. Okay, all right, we're gonna go. It's recorded, so if you did miss any of that and want to take a look at the slides, you should be getting that at the end. We can double check on that. All right, career outlook. So very clearly, with the advent of AI, there is a lot of rapid development in the field of computer science and software engineering. Um, Still, the computer science career outlook has not shifted significantly in the fact that artificial intelligence was already an area of study for computer scientists. It's just exploded lately, right? And then applications of that and algorithms as well. I talked about trade-offs, and one of the big reasons to hire computer scientists is to know which hammer you're supposed to be hitting a problem with. Lately, everyone wants to hit them with the AI hammer, but that's expensive, right? And the costs add up. If there are better algorithms, better methods to solve a problem that's already solvable without throwing it into these, large and expensive data centers, then you should probably be doing that, right? Applications in bioinformatics, simulation, modeling, network architecture, cryptography, computer engineering, operating systems, robotics, genomics, software systems, data science, machine learning, right? Just reading them off for anybody who needs them read off there. Um, what we notice here is a theme of there are other programs in cybersecurity, in network and cloud for WGU and in general out there, right? A computer scientist is somebody who has a broad but deeply technical understanding of the problems in the IT world, right? So these are all career paths, and that computer science can open for you. And then it really just depends on the opportunities and the interests that you have in what you want to pursue further on. Let's go over some misconceptions about CS careers. I already hit on this one. On this first one, you don't have to work and you will not work in solitary environments. Again, you'll take a problem, work on it individually, but then you have to communicate and collaborate solutions with others in these larger systems, right? Um, you don't have to become a manager to advance your career in computer science. There are often parallel tracks, at least in the software engineering world. There are parallel tracks for individual contributors as well as managers. And similarly, in other adjacent careers in computer science, there are often similar tracks for individual contributors to go up towards staff something or research fellow or similar type titles, right? Specializing in languages often doesn't help your career in the long run. So you don't want to specialize in languages, but you do want to get very strong at least one language and have a few in your back pocket in order to be very agile in the marketplace of jobs, right? Um, Job hopping was very popular for a while and was, at least generally speaking, for compensation, the best move. That's changed a little bit. It ebbs and flows with the market. However, I would say that there are many strong careers that you can find, in particular within governmental organizations or local governments, state governments, things like this that where people stay for a very long time and retire in those positions. So it's not necessary to job hop in these positions. And then I talked about computer science being a broad field, and that is true, but it doesn't mean that it's basic. You become an expert on deeply technical things within many areas and understanding the underlying systems of how they work. All right. And then what about AI? So I mentioned that AI has certainly disrupted the job market for computer science and for IT in general. However, the this field of computer science is really one of the best positioned to adapt to that job market. So AI is really increasing the demand for those who understand the underlying algorithms, data, and systems that AI is building on top of, right? To be able to build those reliable and scalable systems and design and evaluate the use of AI in intelligent applications, and then integrate those tools in an ethical and responsible way, right? So, what do you learn in computer science? And this is generally more specific to the bachelor's program, but does apply to the master's. It's just taking some of these further, right? Big ones are algorithms and computational thinking, data structures and information organization, and then mathematical and logical reasoning. Again, this isn't about the ability to do algebra. It's about the ability to use algebra or computing systems to solve problems, right? And so that's always the focus is the applications of these algorithms and data structures and math in order to solve problems, right? What else? Programming and software development is a huge aspect of computer science. And of course, that again is why a lot of interest overlaps in software engineering. And a lot of the career opportunities at the start of your career are very common in that area. Systems, networks and security. So again, underlying understanding of these systems really allow you to pivot into many different positions in that industry. And then ethics and responsible use of technology. Um, these are fundamental to understanding how you're applying these algorithms, both for legal constraints modernly, but also ethical ones too. So let's talk about the bachelor's program. Focus on that for a minute. What's included in the program? You should have gone through some generic information about WGU, so you know that textbooks and learning resources are provided as part of your tuition. Course instructors are also available to meet one-on-one, and then we have interactive communities it's no longer in Scribe. It's actually a different one. I have to update that slide. But we have interactive communities where you can discuss courses and coursework with your fellow students. We also have 2 third-party certifications in the program. Let's talk about the textbooks. Many of your textbooks will be zyBooks textbooks. We have a variety of vendors, but the point is that the textbooks are modern, interactive. You can code or do exercises within those books. So as you're learning, you don't have to constantly be going to a variety of IDEs and things like this, though later on in your program, as you get more advanced, you will often do that as well, right? The embedded third-party certifications that are in our current program are the IDLE and LPI Linux Essentials third-party certs. So as part of 2 of your courses in the program, you will go and get these third-party certifications in order to pass the exams or to pass the courses, right? We also have a variety of embedded micro-credentials so that you can better articulate as you're going through the program the milestones that you reach in your learning as a Java developer, as a backend developer, and skills with AI and optimization, right? So I mentioned software engineering a few times, and so I want to address, more directly for those of you who might be interested in both. What is the difference between CS and software engineering? So with software engineering, you're really focusing on front end significantly more. You have some choices, selection of the language tracks, but also it's generally that you're more interested in building products and having that product focus and mentality rather than the optimization and algorithmic thinking that computer scientists will bring to a team, right? Both programs include programming, but the focus in how you approach programming to solve problems is a little bit different, right? Um, I also said that BSCS is a generalist type program, and our other generalist type program would be BSIT. Um, the difference being the rigor and technical depth in computer science program provides you a greater understanding of computing systems and computing. All right. Let's talk about our accelerated bridge program. So we're working our way towards the masters. We do have as an option a program that will get you through both degrees at an accelerated rate. So you would earn both our bachelor's and master's in computer science. And the way that we do that acceleration is by using the 3 graduate courses to count towards undergraduate and graduate credit, right? So we replace 3 undergraduate courses from BSCS with graduate courses so that you can save the time that it would take you to take 3 more courses. All right. It does still require a minimum of 2 terms because we have to, due to financial aid legal requirements, you have to have an undergraduate term and a graduate term in order to be awarded these degrees. So a minimum of 2 terms would be necessary, but it does potentially save you some money by doing that acceleration. You still get from BSCS the third-party certifications, and you have the potential, depending on your track, and we're about to discuss that for MSCS, depending on your track, you would have some other graduate level certifications available to you as well. The 3 courses. So the courses that are replaced that I mentioned on the left are the undergraduate courses replaced by the graduate courses on the right. So if you're looking at the program guides and looking at the specific courses that you would be taking, those are the ones to consider when considering whether accelerating in undergraduate sounds more appealing or going through the accelerated program and taking the graduate courses sounds more appealing to you. So who is going to take advantage of these or get advantage from these? Those who want to earn a master's degree as fast as possible. If you know that your career opportunities require that and you want to get there faster, this is what the bridge program is for. Those who are able to work at a faster pace with more rigorous coursework. So as I said, you could take the undergraduate 3 courses and you might complete them faster than you would complete the graduate level courses. So that's part of your considerations, right? You're going to do better if you have a strong performance in the foundational computer science courses. So that's another consideration, is if you've taken computer science courses previously, then you have some idea of what that looks like. And then if you're considering careers that typically prefer or require a master's, again, the idea is getting there faster, right? And then committing to that long-term, both bachelor's and the master's. All right, let's talk about our master's programs, and then, like I said, get to the Q&A, where I know that people will have questions. We have 3 tracks currently: computing systems, machine learning, AI, and human computer interaction. So all master's students take the common core courses and then go into a set of focus courses depending on the track that you pick when you enroll. Um, we do have the certifications highlighted on the right available in those, with the detail being that AWS is retiring that machine learning certification, and we will be replacing that course shortly. So a little bit of detail on the focus and who these might be best for. For AI ML, of course, AI is exploding in use cases currently, and best for roles in AI development, machine learning engineer, and data science. Human computer interaction are those who are interested in user experience, research, and engineering, and learning technology design, for example. Those who want to work with ed tech companies, that might be a valuable concentration for. And then core computing systems is really that focus on the foundational computer science as a computing science, right? And you're going to learn more systems engineering and cloud and infrastructure to help with support those types of roles, right? Differentiation. So we are a competency-based program. So this is why we've built the program, is the desire for a competency-based program for working professionals, right? We have a flexible pace for those working professionals. Focus on AI in the curriculum for both the core, not just in our AI ML, but you will experience AI and use cases for AI in industry throughout multiple programs. And we are continuously updating our content, right? Admissions requirements. For our bridge and bachelor's programs, you have to have a pre-calculus or calculus, if you're transferring that in, recent course completed either from a approved third-party provider or WGU Academy or an accredited institution, right? So really, it's just ensuring that students come in ready to start with calculus in our program. And then for our master's program, if you are coming from a program that was not titled computer science, we want to ensure that you're ready to come into our program, which is a rigorous program, by having you take a course with our WGU Academy partners called Foundations of Computer Science. If you're somebody who has industry experience, but a differently titled undergraduate degree, we often see those students go through very quickly that Foundations of Computer Science course, and that's wonderful. That is the intent, is to, again, with a competency-based model, you show your competency and that you're ready to take our program, right? All right, now the fun part, questions. So I don't know if we've been gathering some questions in the chat just yet, but please feel free to use the Q&A feature. That is the easiest way to assure that we see your questions. And
No
then
questions
if
yet,
you have
Matt.
others
So we're
in the chat.
watching though.
I've got questions in the chat, Matt. So I'm going to start with,
Okay.
please forgive me if I mispronounce your name, but we'll start here at the top. Sebastian said he already got an ASCS degree in computer science, and how does it affect the timeline to complete? I did explain, depends upon how many transfer credits come in and your time commitment, and how much background knowledge you have. Is there anything you would like to add to that?
Yeah, so with an associate's, depending on what specific courses transfer, you should be about halfway done, right? So you're starting much further along than most of our students, and with about 4 terms left, depending on what transfers. Um, but it is so commonly, I mean, the reason that people come to WGU is the ability to accelerate. Um, but that heavily depends on your ability to dedicate time towards the courses, time towards your projects, ability to find time in your life to schedule exams. So those who are working full time or working multiple jobs will have to schedule that time in. If you are dedicating all of your time to studying and you are a full-time student, well, everybody at WGU is a full-time student, but a full-time student only, then your ability to accelerate those courses will be greater, right?
Luva asked about what do terms mean here at WGU? Because they
Yeah,
kind of
terms are
highlighted it in the general session.
Yeah, terms are 6-month periods. Students, we don't use a fall and spring semester system and summer sessions. We use 6-month periods from the month that a student starts, and students can start any given month, right? So if you started in January of this year, then you would end your first term in June, and you will have completed a certain number of courses, hopefully, 15 or more CUs to be on track for well, slightly under 15 for the program because we're under 120 CUs, but generally speaking, 15 or more CUs in order to be on track for a 4-year graduation if you transferred nothing in. Right?
Ahmed asked, is this program friendly to beginners who are starting from scratch and or switching careers with no experience in the industry?
So I'm gonna ask to specify undergrad or grad, but I'll answer both. For our undergraduate program, we do keep in mind that students come in with no transfer or little transfer credits and previous experience. The only difference, and I would say that we're friendly to it, but the only difference is to ensure that you have the math preparation, right? And you're welcome to go to our partners at WGU Academy in order to take pre-calculus there. There are also third party or any local institutions that are accredited that you could have taken that with. Um, so just ensuring that you are at that right place to enter our program and succeed in the math portion. But as far as from programming and everything, you start with foundations, what is an algorithm, and we'll move into data structures over time, right? For our master's program, that is why we have the fundamentals of computer science as an entry requirement if you're a career switcher, so that we can again ensure that you have the time and preparation to get to a common starting point for all students, right? A minimum starting point for all students. And then from there, again, for any program, if you have more experience and if you have fewer requirements on your time outside of school, those students are going to go faster, but every student's success will look different. So you will have the same ability to go through these courses and you'll have the instructor availability and everything that you need to succeed. I just always hesitate when students set their success metric to somebody who graduated in 1 term. That's not realistic for everybody. And success will look different for each individual based on their background.
Okay, Matt, can I jump in there for a second?
Yeah, Joyce, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm one of the managers for computer science, and one of the things I wanted to point out, although it's very helpful to have some programming experience, we can give you additional resources that can help you get up to par. It just comes down to the matter of time that you're willing to spend. And with that math, most people that are good in math are good in programming. So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and again, all of this is learned skills, right? So if you don't have a background in math or programming, go take that pre-calculus course and take the time and use the resources that you need to build your skills up. I taught, so I started out teaching the math courses for the CS program here. And one of my favorite quotes ever is Bob Ross: talent is pursued interest, right? So you might not see yourself as a programmer or as a math person or what have you, as a computer scientist yet. That's perfectly fine. It takes time and it takes sustained interest and effort, right? Linda, what's our next question in here? I see everyone's throwing them in the chat, though.
Yeah.
One person did put it in the Q&A, or two people put
I
it in
grabbed the
Q&As.
Q and I did one of the Q&As already, but
Yeah, the other Q&A.
Okay.
Yeah, the other Q&A
Okay.
is, so where should I begin if I am an undergrad with no knowledge of computer science? That might be one everyone kind of want to know. The other's a little more specific.
Yeah, an undergrad with no knowledge in computer science, but you have interest in computer science, then you begin with our program. If you have pre-calculus or something equivalent, if you're not eligible and you go take that pre-calculus through WGU Academy or through another partner, that's, again, this is where you begin. And then you can look around and start gaining some experience in programming. There are a lot, I mean, Khan Academy, there's a lot of resources out there to get you started in programming while you're working on your application and getting into the program. But then once you're in the program, you start with the program. Our early courses are in as I said, calculus for mathematics, but also foundations of scripting and programming. What is an algorithm? What is a control structure? What is a variable? You'll go through those and you'll learn and gain experience as you go through the program.
Moni asked, are the textbooks available in hard copy?
It depends on the vendor. Generally, the exact format of our textbook would not be available, and a lot of the activities are interactive in nature where you're programming directly in the textbook. I don't know how you would get a hard copy there, right? The exercise maybe, but the ability to hit submit and have it evaluate and run, that's something that's difficult to mimic in a modern textbook. That being said, there are several that are textbooks that could be found in libraries or hard copies ordered. And then there are some that have the ability to take a unit and print it off if you're going to be in the mountains for the weekend and no access, or going on a cruise type of thing. We've had students who worked as merchant marines, and so they would have stretches of months where they were out at sea and with limited access. So it's certainly possible, but these are meant to be interactive and done online.
And Janetta has asked, when you enroll and are assigned a program mentor, will the program mentor have experience in computer science, or does that not matter?
I would say that their ability to mentor you as a learner is generally the most important thing, though a lot of our program mentors do have experience in industry or backgrounds in teaching for computer science or IT in general. We have a large number of mentors, and with that comes a diverse number of experiences and things that they add. So there will commonly be some connections and some common interest and passion, but really we look for their ability to help guide you through the learning that you need to do to be successful here.
That's all from the general chat. Are there any from the Q&A that we want to grab?
Yeah,
I started popping them in there.
Yeah, there's a few in the Q&A. What percentage of undergrads of the CS program that get hired after program completion? I'm pretty sure there's a stat somewhere on that we have to put for the Gov, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's officially public stats because they're required to be published on our programs in general and specific. I don't have the numbers, the latest numbers on that. I would say that a good number of our students already have jobs. WGU's flexibility and competency-based design is really, best for working professionals. Not to say that it's not good for others. It's just that it's a very attractive option for those who are balancing life and work and families and all of these things, right? So a large number of our students would already have jobs, 60 to or so percent. For those who are in a demographic, coming out with less experience and less industry experience or no prior college, we do have published stats on that, but it's going to be more local, right? It's going to highly depend on where you're at and the types of jobs that you're seeking. So I wouldn't take those stats without that context, right? Is what I would say.
Yeah. Okay. What we got? Hold. We got a few more. Is there an active WGU alumni network?
Yeah, I see, just as a comment, I see some of these are going answered. I don't know if you see one of yours go answered, because I see Dave is answering some of these
Yeah, if
on
I
the
can
side.
answer some of them, I answer. It makes sense.
I'm just saying, if you see yours go answered and you want to talk about it a little bit more, please feel free. We're at time now, but
Yeah,
I'll hang around for a little bit longer here. The question, active alumni network, absolutely. We have a wonderful alumni network. And in fact, WGU has grown so much, and we've been getting so many students that we have a very large living alumni network, which is a very important point. So we have connections through Handshake, and we also you'll connect with people on LinkedIn, and really what you'll see is that we have a lot of folks spread out throughout the country who are just very active still, and working actively, right?
We have another one. Basically on the same idea with the job market numbers, but more specifically said, how does WGU stand out to help new grads?
New grads, yeah. So we have a lot of focus on that with our career services. A lot of focus on that with what are the skills that you're getting out of the program, and are you able to articulate those in interviews, and talk about the projects that you've done. We also have some instructors that will do that have done interview prep with students. So really, as far as standing out, things like the Living Alumni Network, Handshake, our career services as a national organization are very, very strong. And then it comes down to, when you go through our program, we have the resources there to learn and do these projects, and we have the extra certifications that are part of our program to help you stand out. And it's an amount of what you're able to put in and get out of those and extract from those, and then we will help you translate and articulate that in that interview process, in that application process, right? And we have the services ready for that.
Here's one that I know you covered. Oh, somebody has some?
Go ahead, Linda.
Well, you might be asking the same one. Can you elaborate on the differences between BSCS and BSWE? What would typical roles and daily responsibilities be?
So early career will be pursuing very similar positions. Just because the job is titled software engineer doesn't mean that the software engineering program is the better one for you. It's really what you want to be doing daily with your career over time. And then also longevity wise, what are your next steps? Are you considering going for a master's eventually, and where that might take you, right? By and large, software engineering has more of a focus on front-end technologies. There's also a potential track in C# if that's of interest. If you're in an area that's heavily Microsoft, heavily C# development, that's a consideration, how much experience you'll get in that particular language and track choices. But really, for computer science, what you're looking for is, I'm going to start off as a software engineer, but I want to be the person who is solving the optimization problems, who is helping tweak things so that when the page loads or when the app loads, it's not going to take as long, and people's experiences are going to be better for these things. Or I want to be doing some cool things like solving algorithms around routing and distributing resources for an organization, right? So really, you could end up in the same positions, but how you are able to impact your team will be different based on your background and experiences and your interests. And then in the future, if you're somebody who wants to be a manager or product person, you might consider BSW or BSIT even long term, or their master's programs. And the good news is that you can still pivot from those with a computer science degree. If those are your areas of interest, you'll still have a lot of those skills. But if you want to go into AI and ML type spaces, if you want to study more of that human computer interaction, if you looked at our master's programs and are like, those are cool, that would help you with that decision of starting in CS and having that view of going down that path, right?
And I think we've caught up to all the answers.
So we got 2 more now, Linda.
Oh,
Employability of WG grads if they choose to pursue careers outside the U.S. I'm not sure if we would know that right off the top of our head.
We are, well, so I would say that for CS, we are ABET accredited, which does hold weight outside of the US. It really would very much depend on where outside of the US. And, there are articulation agreements for accreditation bodies in Europe and in South America and in other places. So you might need to do a little bit more research just based on your individual use case. But I would say that CS is a very good one to be looking at because of our ABET accreditation. Puts it a little bit ahead of some other programs.
we've got
Right.
one more, and then we're being told we have to stop broadcast and end.
All
So
right.
real
All right.
fast, are there any outside programs or certs we can acquire for computer science prior to applying to help our acceptance?
Yeah, so the important thing is having that pre-calculus recently. That's the only thing to get you through the door. There are a lot of social media around different ways of approaching getting some credits under your belt from other institutions or third parties. Um, I would say the important thing is that curiosity and that desire to learn more and to continue in computer science. So are there other outside certifications that will help you get into our program? We only have the one prerequisite for our undergraduate, and for graduate you would have to still take Fox if you had a different one. So there's nothing that will change that. Are there outside certificates that will help you in your career or help you through the program? Yes, but you can get those, and as you learn more of where you want to go. I wouldn't recommend sending someone to take certificates early on, but as you're approaching finishing your degree, you might find some certificates that help position you for certain jobs, and that's more relevant, towards the end of your degree.
All right.
All right, folks. I hope that was helpful. Thank you all so much for your help, Linda, Dave, Ramiro, Joyce, and then for coming and being interested in our programs. Again, we want to see you here. We want to see you succeed. So I hope that we will see you in the future, and I hope that we answered all of your questions. If not, please work with your enrollment counselors. They do a wonderful job, and they communicate with our program mentors and myself on questions that they get to help support you the best in your decisions. So thank you all very much, and have a wonderful day.